With the severe dietary limitations that illness brought, my meals now seem more like medicine than pleasure. When my weight kept dropping month after month, I knew that food had to entice me more. So I tried to approach cooking meals as a stimulating, creative challenge. One winter night, with dinner only 1 hour away, I stared at a jar of white beans, wondering how I could possibly dress them up. Out came my white porcelain souffle dish. Armed with fresh rosemary from my garden, I splashed the beans with white wine, added the herbs with a diced tomato, sprinkled everything with breadcrumbs, and gave the dish a French-sounding name, white bean gratin. The ordinary dish became elegant in a matter of minutes. Sometimes it was my imagination and such small details that made all the difference. I wrote this passage in my book when my food sensitivities were at their worst. Fortunately, I'm back to eating almost all foods now, although in moderation. But I still love to eat some of those dishes that I devised when my diet was severely limited. Who would guess that baked Alaska would be one of them? It turns out that you can make a dairy and wheat-free baked Alaska, which I would say is more delicious than the usual kind. Let me show you how to make this scrumptious dish. I've adapted this recipe from a baked Alaska recipe in Emily Lucetti's cookbook, A Passion for Ice Cream. I make the flourless chocolate cake from that recipe, which is a thin cake made only from chocolate, eggs, and sugar. And it tastes really good even when it's frozen. To tell you the truth, until I discovered this recipe, baked Alaska had never excited me, partly because I find frozen cake not to have much flavor. I cut the cake into small rounds with a cookie cutter so that I can make the baked Alaska in individual servings. And then I keep a stash of these cake rounds in the freezer so they're ready to go whenever I'm in the mood. Next, I place a scoop of ice cream on the cake round, and then I put it in the freezer while I make the meringue. If you can't eat dairy products, then just use your favorite dairy-free ice cream. I happen to like this one. It's Cappuccino Swirl by Almond Dream. But I have to say that now that I can eat regular ice cream, my absolute favorite one for this particular dish is Bananas Foster by Haagen-Dazs. This combination of chocolate and banana and a billowy meringue just makes me swoon. I make the meringue using egg whites and sugar. Then I spread the meringue on with a spoon. If you happen to own a pastry bag, it dresses the dish up a bit to pipe it on with a star tip. Then put the baked Alaska in a 500-degree oven for 2 to 3 minutes. Watch it carefully though. You only want it to get ever so slightly brown. And voila, you have your baked Alaska. If you want to gild the lily, serve it with chocolate sauce. There's a good recipe for a dairy-free chocolate sauce in Alice Medrick's cookbook, Bittersweet. And this is how I found a way to have my baked Alaska and eat it too, even with food allergies. If you'd like to learn about one of my favorite tools for overcoming adversity, you might be interested in my video, Thriving Despite Adversity.